Welcome to Business Minds. I'm Cindy Bird. I'm a business owner, a thinking partner, and an educator with a passion for helping people and businesses thrive. Thank you so much for choosing to tune in today to this program. We are continuing on with our theme today of the growing pains of a startup business. As I've mentioned in the past shows here in the month of May, I'm an avid gardener, and this is the growing season, and it just made sense to me to connect that to the fact that not only does my garden go through some growing pains with lack of rain, with weeds, pests, a number of issues, but also a business goes through those growing pains to really get itself established. And I'm so excited to welcome a very special guest here with me this morning, Melody Carlene Norton. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you with me today. How was your weekend? Long holiday weekend? Did you do anything?
It was a wonderful weekend. I actually have been working on my website, and that's what I did most of the weekend, but I did break away to go to a cookout with friends yesterday.
Fantastic.
It's been wonderful.
Well, certainly we've gone right from spring, or maybe skipped spring. Some people have said into summer, but I hope that you and yours had a great holiday weekend and taking time to honor those who've served our country yesterday. If you went to any of those events, you know how very special those times are, and just time spent together with family and acknowledging how blessed we are to live in this country and to be able to start a business. This is one of the wonderful things that we can do, right?
Absolutely.
So, Melody, I know in talking with you, you have a lot of experience, work experience and a diversity in that experience, and you've brought all of that to launching your current business, Melody Carlene Photography. And I know that you had said to me that this business represents the true culmination of your passion. So I'm excited to hear more about it. I know our viewers are excited to hear more about it as well. So tell us more about the business, why you started the business, and your mission. What it is you hope to accomplish with your business?
Okay, sure. Yes, I have been an entrepreneurial spirit since I was very young. My very first business I ever ran was in Miss Gargiulo's class in 5th grade. I did a school store, and I'd go to Fogler's Variety and buy penny candy, and I'd come to school and sell it for 2 cents. And it was a very successful business.
You do have an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes, I did. But I always wanted to go into business. After high school, I went to beauty school because I've always loved to help people to feel beautiful. And I really I was drawn to that. So I went to cosmetology school. And soon after that, I actually opened an aerobic dance studio in Peoria. And that some of you may have been there, Melody's Aerobic Dance and Fitness on Willow Knolls. I was there for 2 years and had quite a few students. It was during the Jane Fonda days, aerobics was where it was at.
Yes, it was.
And I did that for a couple of years, and then I traveled with a group called Up With People for a year in 1985. So I'm starting to mark my age here a little bit, and then came back and opened Body Works by Melody in the Peoria Heights. And I actually then moved to Denver, and I was there for a few years and worked in an office. That was one of the times I was not working for myself. For 3 years, came back home because we got homesick, and then worked at the Peoria Civic Center for a while as their marketing secretary with Debbie Ritchell. And then I started a decorating business. And at first I was doing both jobs, but very quickly I saw that the decorating business was a good thing for me, and I did that for 12 years. And after that, then I had rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh,
So it was where I couldn't do my business anymore. So I did take a break and went back to school and got a computer science degree and my webmaster certification. And I really loved web design. And I'm kind of got a geeky side. I think I may be the only person that ever lettered in pom-poms. I was the pom-pom captain at Peoria High School and AV. So I was kind of like the geeky cheerleader type. And now I think I'm about the same way because I really have that geeky side. Back then, geeky was a bad thing, but now it's a really good thing.
That's very
So
cool.
I embrace my geekiness, and I also love glamorous things. And so anyway, taking the tour ahead, after school, I ended up working I was on the board at the Central Illinois Center for Independent Living and was asked to join as executive director and accepted that job. And so I spent probably the last 12 years or so advocating for people with disabilities because I know what it's like it is a group that does not discriminate. Anybody can join that group at any time. And so I loved advocating and working with programs for the Peoria area and then later for all of Illinois at the Coalition of Citizens with Disabilities. And I feel like it was great. It was like running a business, but it was running the nonprofit business. And then in the state of the state, without budgets and things like that, it was very stressful for the whole state. I found myself loving and spending more time doing photography. And then I was realizing, I think this is what I love. I think I'm going to do this as my career. And that is what I've done. I've been spending the last 2 years preparing this business and wanted to bring something a little unique to the area. And so I'm just going after my passion of what I love.
We've talked about that on this program so many times, how important it is to have that passion be your guide in establishing a new business in a smart way. Not if I build it, surely people will come, because if I care about it and I'm passionate about it, people will come. It's channeling that passion in a way that really expresses who you are and the branding of the business and so forth, right? That's
Yes.
putting it out there. Your background is so fascinating and so unique, and I can see how there's that thread of creativity, though, that has been woven through everything. And now I understand when you say it's the true culmination of your passions. I see that for sure. All of those things were preparing you for this point in time. So why the photography business makes sense to me. What I would like to know, and I think our viewers would be interested in as well, I perceive that industry as being pretty crowded right now. It seems like there are a lot of photographers out there and a lot more constantly coming into that industry. Mm-hmm. So what's the distinctive experience that you offer to people through Melody Carlene Photography?
Well, I am a card-carrying member of the 50 Plus and Fabulous Club, which means that...
Well, I guess that I am too.
I have to get you a card.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of us out there, and I believe that as women, a lot of times we're the person that's behind the camera, and I really believe that women should exist in photographs and that they leave a legacy behind that they should be a part of. Wow. And that we should be leading ladies in our lives, and it should be shown in the story of our life that we were there. And I know what it's like to be a little nervous to be in front of the camera. I mean, my comfort is definitely behind the camera, but and that's where I understand deeply what it's like for a woman to be photographed. Just like being here today, it was like, oh my, it makes me kind of nervous to be in front of the camera. But
it's natural.
But it's
it's
just natural because I've been behind the scenes preparing my business, and now it's time to get, out there a little bit. But I would like to bring a really nice kind of celebrity photo shoot experience to Central Illinois. And what I do is contemporary magazine style portraits is
Okay.
what my specialty is my niche. And what that means is that you can have beautiful photographs. When you see magazines, when you're going through the checkout, you look at those women and you think, I wish I could look like that. And that's what my superpower is making everyday people look like they belong on the cover of a magazine. And so
Love
it's what I love to do. If you were coming to my studio, I would assist in styling. So we would have a styling consultation where I'd help select the outfits you would want to wear. And I would then later, when you come back for your photo shoot, you would have hair and makeup done by me. I'm a licensed cosmetologist or another person on my team that's also a licensed cosmetologist.
Okay.
And then you would have a photo shoot. You'd get to choose like 5 looks that how you dream of being photographed. And it could be a lot of different things. It could be very glamorous. It could be in jeans and a white t-shirt. It could be boudoir. It could be for your business, because that's another specialty of mine is personal branding. And
Okay.
personal branding photography is a big thing right now because you are your brand, and it's very
Yes.
important for you to exist in photographs and that you have photographs that tell your story about who you are and that would draw your ideal client to you. It's important for you to be unique and for me to help you in expressing that uniqueness in photographs or in video that you can use in your website or your marketing materials. And that's everything right now. But that can be a part of the whole look. So I don't just photograph women. I am just very good at photographing women. And I believe that if you can make a woman over 50 feel beautiful in photographs, you can photograph anybody. I love photographing children and men and the families and all of those things. But my specialty is photographing women.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I mean, that sounds extremely distinct to me. And I love that you hone in on the personal branding perspective. You're talking to someone who understands that and who believes that very, very much. And a photo does tell a story. And to be able to have someone just look at an image of you and pick up on at least something about who you are, your personal brand, is so very, very important.
Yes.
Well, you mentioned you've been working on launching this business for a while now. So I want to get into a couple of those growing pains that you have
yes.
experienced.
Okay.
So what's the first growing pain that you want to chat about this morning?
Well, I say probably getting back out there. I mean,
Okay.
I had a portion of my career where I've definitely been out there in the public eye, out there doing business and being seen, but in developing this business and running through everything through what is it that is my brand, I've kind of been behind the scenes, and I think getting back out there is a growing pain. Even being here today is a way of breaking through that. So,
Well, it's somewhat of a holding back on actually launching the business. So there's a lot of behind the scenes that we tend to do. When you have such a sincere passion for the work that you do through your business, combined with the fact that you have a lot of experience in marketing and branding, and I was the same way. I mean, that's my background. I've studied a lot about marketing and branding. It's agonizing to put your own business out there then and to think about what is the brand that I want to put out there. As you say, it can be not just agonizing, but it can be maybe even a little scary to ultimately take that next step. And there's nothing wrong with waiting until you feel that you have a lot of details worked out, until you have a lot of things in place, because you want to generate that wow response, that really great first impression. And I know there are a lot of small businesses who unfortunately do just the opposite. They jump in too quickly. They don't give enough thought to the research and the branding, and they probably aren't nearly as successful. So it all takes time, yes. I get that. I went through the same process myself. What it's important to do, though, is to make sure that there aren't any other factors holding you back. And there are three that I have found that tend to happen with entrepreneurs. That's procrastination, fear, and perfectionism. So I want to talk about those three with you and tell you to ask yourself a couple of questions. So let's talk about the procrastination piece first. Is it out of character for you to procrastinate, or do you tend to procrastinate in general? That would be a question to ask yourself. If you find that you procrastinate in general, then it's probably just become a habit for you. Ultimately, you would want to get to the bottom of why do I make procrastination a habit. So do you think it's a habit for you? Do you tend to procrastinate about other things in general?
Well, if you ask my 8th grade teacher, I think that she wrote in my book that there's nothing I could not do if I did not procrastinate. So thank you, Mrs. DeGood, for that. But I would say I don't believe that procrastination is as much, I'm sure it's part of it, it's the perfectionism, which a good friend of mine Michelle Boems, has said that perfectionism is nothing more than fear in beautiful shoes or something like that.
That's a great way to look at it. I would agree. And it can hold us back, though, because we're unrealistically waiting for everything to be perfect before we launch, before we actually take action. Unfortunately, perfectionism doesn't make us perfect. It can make us feel inadequate. And so we're constantly working at trying to push aside those feelings of inadequacy. And I wholly support that it's critical to put quality into a business launch. I wouldn't expect anyone to do any less than that. Unfortunately, we can get lost in those weeds. We can get bogged down by all the details and by the perfectionism itself. I will always remember a creative writing class that I took in college. And we had to have a notebook where we just did free writing. No critique. It was just write. Don't stop and go, oh, wait, I didn't put a comma there, or that's an incomplete thought. Their syntax is not correct, whatever, is just keep plunging ahead. Now, that being said, you're not going to put an error-filled business launch out there. You're going to go back and revise it. But sometimes it's just getting it all out there in the first place, which can help us. And yeah, fear of failure can even be that subconscious element that can hold us back because it's risky to launch a business, right?
And well, when I first started, it's been a 2-year plan, so that you know that. I've been working a plan because there have been many skills I've needed to learn. I mean, with photography and strobe lighting and posing and the whole look of what I wanted to do. Once I decided my niche, then I found the best, and I've been studying with the best. Sue Bryce is my mentor. She's in LA, and she is who I believe is one of the best photographers of women and in the glamour genre in the world. And so it's been wonderful studying with her and under her. And then I've also sought out teachers like Peter Hurley does wonderful headshots. He's in New York. I studied with him and with several of the best. So I've been studying hard. I feel like I've kind of been giving myself a 4-year degree in about 2 years. So it's been a lot of learning, and now it's putting everything together to tell my story with my website and all of the other marketing materials and all of the things that I want to do, getting the systems in place, because I feel like once I'm busy, I won't be able to do all of those things. So it's that's the big growing pain too, is actually, and it's the biggest DIY project of my life because I'm actually doing my own website and
because you have that ability.
Doing all of the the images and doing everything. And since I want to do personal branding for others, I want it to express
your personal brand.
Yes, my personal brand.
To the best way possible. Well, I have found it helpful, and I've told other new business owners this, that if you believe it is fear or that perfectionism holding you back and making you procrastinate, that one thing to do is to focus on those things that you know always tend to boost your confidence. It's reflecting over this strength, your wealth of experience that you have, all of the learning that you've done, the people you've studied under, these experts, all of that. Those are the factors that are going to make your business distinct. So thinking about that can help allay some of that fear that we feel. I've also mentioned many times on this program mindfulness meditation practice. I have found to be a very helpful way to minimize those judgmental thoughts that tend to creep into our thinking, and also to minimize the feelings of fear. Because fear is a distraction, that it's a distracting thought that's out there. And so mindfulness meditation practice can be a way to bolster that belief in yourself, that belief in your vision, because your passion is there, Melody. There's no doubt about that. So honing on in that. I also thought, when you stay focused on that why, that passion, that sounds like what you're doing. And I think that's going to be very, very much in your favor. The other thing that I believe you've done a little bit of is, and it's also a recommendation to those of you out there who might be holding back on launching, is to consider a soft opening. Retail stores do that. Restaurants do soft openings to somewhat test the waters, put your business out there in a trial manner. Mm-hmm. It's like if you had a product, you'd make a prototype and put it out there first and then get some feedback about it. So that allows you to work through any kinks or any concerns, I think, that you might have. I know I was fortunate to have some clients as I finished up my master's degree. I actually was working with a client as part of my education process and making sure I could actually run a business and I could actually work with a client. And so I had a chance to do all of that before I officially launch the business. But it sounds like you've done a little bit of that already.
Yes,
You've done some soft.
I have been doing photography and business and doing all of these behind the scenes. It's kind of funny that people have been coming to me saying, it just shows you can do business without the website. I mean, people.
Yes, it does.
I've kept my work kind of a top secret kind of thing. I'm just now putting it out there. I'm super excited to show my portfolio and to show what it is that I offer. And I have had clients come to me, and I've been doing the business, but now it's just getting ready to officially here I am. And
absolutely. Well, you tell me that one of your other growing pains was the perception that starting a business is lonely. It's not really a perception, it's a reality. When you're a creative artist especially, right?
Yes, I've spent a lot of time alone getting everything ready. And so, and I talk to other photographers and other people in business, and they talk about how lonely it is actually preparing to start a business, because all the processes that are there to set up and to get ready, there's so many pieces to think about. And branding, which is something you specialize in, is a very important one, because what makes you different? Who are you? And each of us, like, there are many photographers out there, but they are uniquely themselves. And so that's why I don't feel a competitive spirit. I feel you cannot live in creativity and competition at the same time. I believe.
Love that statement.
And so I'm doing this for my passion. So I'm staying in a creative mindset, and there's room for all of us. And I just want to offer me, because it's not that I just want to give good photographs to my clients. I'm completely obsessed. I'm obsessed with showing them how beautiful they are and giving them images that they love. And I'm really not happy unless I am bringing a few tears to the eyes of my client when they see their images, because it's not like it's like an obsession more than I want to give my best. And so then when you start going into the mindset of, am I good enough? Am I good enough to what? To give service? I'm absolutely good enough to give amazing service and to deliver beautiful images. So I'm ready to go. And I just needed to spend the time of learning how and building a portfolio that I love and doing this, so I'm super excited now. Now it's just all the pieces parts, like my website and getting everything ready. I set up my corporation, so that's done. I'm getting all the behind the scenes ready so that I'm ready to go. And
Well, I'm excited for the launch because just from hearing you talk more about it today, it's very exciting to me to see what this is going to be like, to see what your business is like, and I need to get on your list of clients for sure.
wait to photograph you, Miss
That will be
Cindy.
exciting. Well, I think you've worked through this growing pain of that starting a business is lonely. I only had a couple of other thoughts that I wanted to share with you and to share with our viewers if you're feeling that way, especially as a creative artist that's used to working solo anyway. And that is to look at what opportunities are out there for me to step out, for me to engage with other business owners and unveil my business. Obviously, professional or industry-based organizations that you would be a member of, networking events, or the niche networking groups that have started to crop up in the area. I know there are quite a few. And we're both members of I've Decided, so you felt that that's a strong connection for you, that's a good place for you to be. A couple things that I know, I've got two creative artists that I know who are my colleagues, and they've both benefited from working in a co-working space from time to time. Not all the time, but to actually, they both belong to the Nest here in Peoria, so they work out of that space because it gets them engaged with other business owners. They can bounce ideas, they can put some ideas out there without putting them out there to the full public and get some feedback in that co-working space. And also I wanted to recommend that you consider doing a 1 Million Cups presentation. Are you familiar with 1 Million
No,
Cups?
I'm not. Tell me
Okay,
more.
well, 1 Million Cups is a nationwide effort to help startup entrepreneur businesses. We have a local 1 Million Cups here in Peoria. They meet on the first Wednesday of every month. And new entrepreneurs, and also they've invited some established entrepreneurs to come back too. But you can present your business. That's a way to launch your
Really?
business. I'll fill you in with more information
love to know
after
more.
the program
And about
today.
the Nest too. That
And the
sounds
Nest, yeah, both
really
of those I
interesting.
think would be great. There's so much joy that you have about you, Melody. I think people are going to look forward to experiencing the joy that you will bring to them too. So how can people reach you? What's on the future for the business, and how can people reach you?
Okay, well, I'm planning my official website launch on June 1st. So that's only a couple days away.
know,
And I'm
so
working
exciting.
night and day to get this finished because I really want people to see the story. But I have my very first passion project that you should look for on my website after June 1st. You can find it on that. It's photographing 50 women over 50. And it will be a substantial decrease in the session fee to only $50. So there's no product with that, but you can go through
Fantastic.
the whole experience for $50, and I'm going to offer that to 50 women over 50 this next year. So I'll be doing many passion projects, but that's going to be my opening one.
So exciting. Well, Melody, thank you so much for being my guest today. I'm so thrilled for the launch of Melody Carlene Photography. It's an exciting new business that you're going to want to check out for sure. Next week starts a new month, of course, and a new theme for Business Minds. The theme is Risky Business. While you won't see Tom Cruise, you will see a lot of my guests who will be sharing the biggest risk they ever took with their businesses and what were those outcomes. You can look forward to that and follow us on Facebook. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much.
YourRealLife.com